Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask, Heidi. It is Wednesday. Can you believe today is the 26th of June? Canoe Day. Flowers in your hair day. I've never had flowers in my hair. Have you ever done that?
When I was little, I used to.
International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. That should be every day. International Day in Support of Victims of Torture also should be every day.
Yikes.
National Barcode Day, Beautician's Day, Chocolate Pudding Day, Coconut Day. You could celebrate those together, but that would be good. Tropical Cocktails Day, World Refrigeration Day, Madagascar's National Day, National Day of Joy, and National Parchment Day. I think we got them all today. All of that happening on this Wednesday. And I've got a guest. Do you remember back in the 80s, there was a show, like a miniseries, V? And
Yeah.
it was like a scary thing. Well, one of the villains from that, Jane Badler, she was like a villain in that show. And she's a villain in a new show. She was recently in Ricky Stenicki, a comedy, which I thought was awesome. But she's back to being the bad girl in Trim Season. We're going to chat with her all about that coming up. Charlie has Parkinson's. Recently, Charlie started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing.
I'm an avid golfer, and I was going to give it up this year. I just deteriorated that much. Now I'm back to golfing, enjoying it, having a good time. I just can't stress enough how good it is.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. When linguist Andrew Bray was researching slang used by hockey players, he was asked an interesting question. Are you trying to figure out why the American hockey players sound like fake Canadians? Upon further study, he discovered that American players do indeed shift their speech in subtle ways, not because they're trying to sound Canadian, but because they're trying to sound like hockey players. Bray found that American hockey players do indeed borrow features of the Canadian accent, particularly with hockey terms, adopting it more the higher they advance, given the Canadian players are so prevalent. So if you ever wondered why American hockey players sound like Canadian hockey players, apparently that is the
never
reason.
thought about it. but-
We are not huge hockey fans.
We are
so
not.
That helps. We are also not football fans. We're not soccer fans, baseball fans, any kind of sports, really. There's not really a sport that we rush to the television to see. So, although recently I've been told I sound like a golf announcer. So
Yes, you did.
I got that going for me, which is nice. Surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com.
It's rad. It's bad. It's 80s. The coolest rock vacation of the summer. Retromania Live. August 21st through 25th, the Mansion Theater. Starring Vince Neil, Bobby Brown, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Night Ranger, Tom Kiefer, Tiffany, Lou Graham, Pauly Shore, celebrity autograph signing, costume parties, and more. Single day tickets on sale now at RetromaniaLive.com. Produced by Branson Star Entertainment.
Did you know? Brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Heidi, did you know that in Slovakia they have Christmas carp? They
did
put them in the
not.
family bathtub for a few days before Christmas, and then at Christmas time they take them out and eat them.
Okay.
So you have to kill your Christmas carp.
That's interesting.
I was a kid. We used to catch carp, and we would usually throw them back or
Yeah,
give
they
them
were
away.
always like
I had
just tossed back
I had
in.
a friend who would smoke them, and you'd have smoked fish. That was actually kind of interesting. I always like to say, we don't know everything, but now we know this.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by Radiosavings.com. There's no stopping Disney Pixar's Inside Out 2, which is now well on its way to becoming 2024's first $1 billion box office hit. They projected about $100 million in the second weekend. Best ever for an animated film, by the way. That tops the previous record of $92 million set last year by the Super Mario Brothers movie. And it gives the sequel a two-weekend domestic total of $355 million. That's the same amount that Barbie had after 2 weekends. And it puts it on pace to the $600 million mark in North America. That's pretty cool.
Everybody was so excited about that film.
Yeah.
Coming out.
Hours after Paramount revealed the return date for the final episodes of Yellowstone, Kevin Costner ended speculation about his return, saying, yeah, I'm not coming back. So didn't he just say that he was
Yeah,
thinking
he said
about
he was
it?
thinking about
I think
it.
he
He's
just wants
just
to
teasing everybody.
Yeah. And Clue, the U.S. Postal Service is honoring an iconic game show host with his own stamp. If you said, "Who is Alex Trebek?" you are correct.
Aw.
There's going to be a stamp. I think that's really cool.
That is cool.
And that is going to do it for Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by RadioSavings.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. He started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing, and he's noticed a difference, even while sleeping.
Once I got in bed, I couldn't roll over. I couldn't move. I was just whatever position I was in, just a chore to get out of bed. And now everything is so much better.
Click on RadioSavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at RadioSavings.com. That's RadioSavings.com. Now your scoop of the day comes your way, courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. Scientists found a fossil of two turtles mating that they say is 47 million years old. So did they die? Well, or I'm trying to figure out why in the world they would have been stuck in that position
I have no idea.
for 47 million years. So I'm sure there's an old person joke in there somewhere, but we're going to skip that and move on to this. Have you ever encountered an issue at the supermarket checkout and then felt the death stares of those behind you?
Because everybody's in a hurry.
Even though you hadn't done anything wrong? Well, that wouldn't happen here. A Japanese grocery store recently implemented an extra slow checkout counter where customers, no, this is on purpose, where customers are never rushed. Those visiting the extra slow checkout register can spend up to 20 minutes if they want, counting their change, trading in products they've decided not to buy, chatting with the cashier without feeling any extra pressure in any way. Why is this, Heidi?
Why is this, John?
It was originally designed for the convenience of elderly or disabled or pregnant women. But here's the thing that's been crazy. It's become very popular with all types of shoppers who just don't want to feel rushed. This experimental register has become so popular in supermarkets, they say that since their implementation, it's about 10% increase in sales because people actually like being able to take a little bit of time.
Huh.
I remember when they introduced the express lanes, remember 10 items or less?
Yeah.
They never used to have that. When I was a kid, that didn't exist. And then all of a sudden they started doing that. And I'm one of those guys where I'm looking at my stuff, I'm going, okay, there's 4 things connected here. Does that count as 1 or does that count as 4? Then I have anxiety over if I'm going to get there and somebody else is going to say, hey, you got
Yell at
12
me.
items.
Yeah.
That's not 10 items. That's 12 items. So I like the idea of just taking my time, going a little slower. I think that's kind of cool. Scoop of the day comes your way, courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com.
Can your IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis? By allocating a percentage of your retirement into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns. Safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Protect your retirement today with a simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide. Call 1-800-200-GOLD or visit genesisgoldira.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Super excited to visit right now with Jane Badler. And Jane, you get to be a villain again in this movie. Do you like being the bad girl?
Yeah, I guess I must like being the bad girl, huh?
You are so good at this. You know, I remember from the 80s, V, like that was a huge, huge hit and people loved that. And there've been several times since then where you get to be the villain. Is it more fun to be the villain than it is to be the hero or the good girl?
For me, probably yes. But I think it's also good. I think Mona kind of went to the extreme of bad girl. So I think it's kind of fun to be a bad girl that doesn't have to, go that extreme as well,
Absolutely. Now, this new film, Trim Season, it was in theaters and now it's available through streaming so people can see it, right in the comfort of their own home. How weird is that for you, being in this industry and seeing that change? Because, back when I was a kid, when a movie hit the theater, you had to wait months before you could actually see it at home. Now, something will be in the theater, and then sometimes even the next week, it's available to watch at home. That's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it really took getting used to. And the truth is some movies don't even go into the theaters. They go straight to streaming, which sometimes I get a little sad about because I still am old-fashioned, and I love going into movie theaters. I love when those lights go down. I've got my popcorn, and there's just zero distraction. There's just me and that big screen. And that experience is one of my favorite experiences.
Well, one of the movies that was direct to streaming, it was produced by Amazon Prime, and you were in that recently, Ricky Stenicki. And that was one of those movies that when I saw the trailer for it, I'm like, okay, I got to see this. And then I watched it, and I was able to laugh all the way through. And you were not a villain in that. That was kind of nice.
Oh, my God. That's the other thing I love doing is comedy. I know it sounds strange because it's completely the opposite to like what you just saw me do, and you'd find it hard to believe. But I love doing comedy. I've done about 3 comedy films now, and I didn't realize I had such a talent for it, and so I started doing it.
Oh, you did a great job, and that whole film, everybody did such an amazing job, and Ricky Stenicki, and I hope folks, if somebody listening hasn't seen it, I hope they'll check it out because it was so much fun. And it's got to be a different vibe on set doing a comedy than doing like a horror film. That's got to be a completely different feel.
Well, I mean, that was a very pleasant shoot. We shot in the daytime. We shot in very comfortable environments like country clubs and people's homes. And, it was a beautiful sunny time in Melbourne. So that was like a very nice shoot. The horror film, Trim Season, on the other hand, was a very difficult shoot. I mean, we shot up in the woods. It was dark. We shot all through the night. There were porcupines and mooses, and we were all freezing. It's like it was like a whole different. It was a whole different thing.
And the setting, that out in the woods and that big cabin that you guys were in, that almost kind of takes on almost like a character of its own because it is scary just to even watch that, and then all the action that happens around that makes it even more scary.
Yeah, and let me say, we were so blessed with our director Ariel Vita and our incredible cinematographer. I mean, honestly, the way they shot that film, she went in there, she was in there days, weeks before setting up that trim cabin. Every detail she was involved with, making sure it looked real. So when I watch it on the screen, I can see all that hard work, and exactly right. It's like another character in the film.
And you had a chance to work with a bunch of young people in this film who, those are kind of the actors and actresses that are kind of on their way. What is it like to see the next generation of people who are doing what you're doing? Is it kind of exciting to see all these fresh faces that are getting their start right now?
Yeah, boy, I love those actors. I felt really blessed to have them. They were like the lead, Beth Millions. She's an outstanding actress, young actress, and did an unbelievably good job. And I observed them. I watched how hard they worked. I loved Juliet. She played the one who couldn't feel anything in her hands, and Bex, and we had Allie, who played Harriet, the one who had the first death with I shouldn't say this. Oh, don't listen to anybody. Anyway,
we didn't hear that.
It was. I think what really struck me watching these young actors was how seamless they seemed to just step on the set and become these characters. And I feel like I turned myself inside out playing Mona. Do you know?
You did a great job. It was fantastic. And you definitely held your own. I think, they were all probably trying to keep up with you.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind.
The film is called Trim Season. It's available right now. I'm going to throw a link to the trailer and a link to just be able to click and watch it if you'd like. And again, thank you so much, Jane. I appreciate your time today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Again, Trim Season, it's available now. I've got all the information in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. Recently, Charlie started wearing a bracelet from VitaTech Healing.
I'm an avid golfer, and I was going to give it up this year. I just deteriorated that much. Now I'm back to golfing, enjoying it, having a good time. I just can't stress enough how good it is.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how VitaTech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Kraft produces enough Cool Whip every year to fill the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
That is a lot of Cool Whip.
That is a lot of Cool Whip. I love
lot of Cool Whip. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Goofy, the character Goofy, has a son. Do you know what that son's name is?
I don't.
Goofy Jr.
Goofy Jr.
Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The U.S. government gave Indiana University $1 million to study memes. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know why. Fun fact, other than, government dollars hard at work. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Humans cannot walk in a straight line without a visual point. When blindfolded, we gradually walk in a giant circle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
We should try that.
Why in the world would we try that?
I don't know. It's just
I'll let you try
fun.
that. I'll blindfold you and just set you loose. Let you run amok. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A gut feeling is a chemical signal that your stomach creates to warn the brain of danger. So that's an actual thing.
Okay.
Several fun facts. Now you know. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
It's rad. It's bad. It's 80s. The coolest rock vacation of the summer. Retromania Live. August 21st through 25th, the Mansion Theater. Starring Vince Neil, Bobby Brown, Casey and the Sunshine Band, Night Ranger, Tom Kiefer, Tiffany, Lou Graham, Pauly Shore, celebrity autograph signing, costume parties, and more. Single day tickets on sale now at RetromaniaLive.com. Produced by Branson Star Entertainment.
Time now for the Mint Mobile question of the day. It comes your way, courtesy of Mintervention.com. Question, Heidi. Stats show that 40% of us have a spare one of these in the car. What is it? It's probably a good idea, but I've never done it.
I don't know.
Spare pair of pants.
Why would you
Just
have a pair?
in case you spill something on it, you have some sort of accident. You know the one I'm talking about. It's probably not a bad idea. You know, I should probably have like a whole change of clothes in the car, just in case. Especially me. Every time we go to a restaurant, I spill something on my shirt. I should wear a bib. All right. Mint Mobile question of the day comes your way, courtesy of Mintervention.com. Charlie has Parkinson's. He started wearing a bracelet from Vitatech Healing, and he's noticed a difference, even while sleeping.
Once I got in bed, I couldn't roll over. I couldn't move. I was just whatever position I was in, just a chore to get out of bed. And now everything is so much better.
Click on radiosavings.com to hear more of Charlie's story and find out how Vitatech Healing is helping others with ADHD, fibromyalgia, autism, and more. Plus, find radio-only savings by clicking the link at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com. Now, some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Krispy Kreme is rolling out Friends-themed donuts, but good luck getting them. The company's latest limited edition donuts celebrate the 30th anniversary of the sitcom Friends. But while the show was set in New York, the donuts are available only in the UK and Ireland.
Oh.
The Friends collection includes a chocolate glazed donut topped with an image of the fountain in the show's opening credits, Trifle, a strawberry and custard-filled donut that references an episode about failed dessert, How You Doin', echoing Monica's iconic front door. What? And the We're on Coffee Break, a cafe latte flavored donut that includes the Central Perk Cafe logo. The set's limited availability has sparked a multitude of sarcastic comments online. So I don't understand why they would make them available everywhere but where they probably should be.
Right, exactly. They should be here.
I don't know. Here's the good news. This does not affect me in any way.
No, I
not
wouldn't
even a little
get
bit.
them no
Weird
matter
news
what.
brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
John and Heidi.
Time now for the list brought to you by BetterCreditCards.com. Gordon Ramsay has 3 golden rules for eating at a restaurant, so it's our list for today. He says, be wary of places that throw around suspicious boasts about the quality of their food. Buzzwords like famous or best in the country without any evidence to back them up. He says, when they say that, say, okay, who said that? Who named it that? Why is it called that? It's like a lot of the time people have things like that. Another one, any restaurant that has too many specials. He said specials are there to disappear throughout the evening. When they list 10 specials, that is not special.
Right.
All right. And then when it comes to ordering wine, ask for the bin end. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
So the bin end is comprised of bottles with scratch labels or vintages which haven't sold well. It can be a good way to get the best bottle for a bargain price. Also ask for a bottle, whatever is recommended for no more than a certain dollar amount, $30,
Right.
whatever. And they say that can actually help as well. So there's Gordon Ramsay's golden rule for eating at a restaurant. The
Alrighty.
list. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
Can your IRA or 401k stand up to the next financial crisis? By allocating a percentage of your retirement into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns. Safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Protect your retirement today with a simple phone call and receive your free gold and silver guide. Call 1-800-200-GOLD or visit genesisgoldira.com.
Time now for the quote of the day. It comes your way courtesy of radiosavings.com. Our quote today comes from Mark Twain. His real name, Sam Clemens. He said, "Don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first."
That's true.
I think that's very
It's a good
true.
one.
It is. You know what? He's got a lot of witty things that he said. And again, just a very, very funny guy. I read his autobiography or his biography. I don't remember what it was, but I read something about him. And I kind of just fell in love with the guy. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. Quote of the day comes your way, courtesy of radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news. I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com. And our headline for today, police officer makes a child's day with a simple act of kindness. This happens in Memphis, Tennessee. A heartwarming event in Memphis. A police officer went above and beyond his call of duty to ensure that a young boy could continue pursuing his passion for football. Officer Michael Pointer met a 10-year-old, Kamari Brooks, while on detail at the Westwood Community Center. A few days later, Pointer encountered Kamari again dressed in his little Longhorns uniform hours ahead of practice. During their conversation, Pointer discovered the young athlete didn't own a pair of football cleats, though. He said he had no cleats, but all of his friends do. Touched by the situation, Pointer decided to take action. He purchased a brand new pair of football cleats and socks and personally delivered them to this young man's home.
Oh.
Carissa Brooks, this young man's mother, expressed the gratitude for the officer's generosity. Officer Pointer was very sweet, she said, and helpful for what he did for my son, considering the fact that I am a single parent. The young man has been playing football for 3 years and is known for his dedication, often arriving an hour early before practice even starts. A small but significant gesture by this officer not only provided the young man with equipment he needed, but also highlighted the positive impact that community members can have on one another. I love that story.
That's
great.
fantastic.
I've got a link to it if you'd like to see that. The link is in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Oh, by the way, if you ever come across a story like that, something that you think is just kind of a nice, heartwarming story, we try to end the program with good news every day. And I don't want to say it's hard to find good news because it's out there, but here's what I really like. When people see a good news story and it makes them think of us, doesn't that just make you feel good?
It warms my heart.
It does. So if you see one, you'd like to share it, you can do that at the bottom of the page at johnandheidishow.com.